All right, welcome everyone. It is now 6 o'clock. I welcome you to our August 4th Conroe ISD budget hearing. Tonight we'll have an opportunity to hear a budget presentation from our CFO, Darren Rice. At the conclusion of the presentation, we'll have an opportunity for public comment about the budget presentation. We appreciate those of you that are joining us online tonight. We are here in person in the Conroe ISD boardroom, but we have our proper social distancing and we're following all our safety procedures this evening, and so we appreciate that as well, and we welcome everyone online. So at this time, we will turn it over to Mr. Rice for his presentation.
Good evening, President Williams, members of the board, Dr. Knoll, and community members. It is my pleasure to present the 2020-2021 proposed budget. With the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, many financial challenges have arisen for the country, state, and the district. In this presentation, you will see how the leadership of our board and Dr. Knoll has the district in great financial shape to handle these challenges. The information coming out of Austin concerning the state budget does not look good. So we must plan for reductions in state funding in the next legislative session. This slide shows the additional costs the district has incurred since the onset of the COVID-19. And I think it is important to see the ramifications that COVID has had on our budget. Looking at the expenditure side, looking at remote learning, and we have purchased several software platforms to help us with the delivery of instruction. On the technology side, we have purchased thousands of Chromebooks, hotspots, and then also the data to support those hotspots. PPE, we've purchased masks, face shields, sneeze guards, gloves, etc. And then additional cleaning supplies. Y'all will hear a lot in the coming weeks and months about Quat 256. That is the district disinfectant that we use that is approved for killing the COVID-19. Then we've purchased equipment, e-misters, foggers, hand sanitizing stations, and touchless water fountains. And then the additional custodial staff that we need to clean our buildings. You see leaves on there. We don't right now have an idea about leaves, but I'm expecting about $5 million worth of expenditures for leaves cost with COVID. So if we add that in there, that's roughly $11.3 million that we'll have on the expenditure side. Now looking at lost revenue, you can see those revenues. We discussed those at the last board meeting. It's about $7.6 million worth of lost revenues. And that all adds up to roughly $20 million of expenditures due to COVID-19. Now just kind of moving into the budget presentation, I like to start all my budget presentations looking at our financial highlights for the current year. And we're proud of all of our highlights, but we'll recognize just a few of them today. The district continues to get recognized from the state's comptroller office for our transparency presentations. We receive transparency awards for our traditional finances, debt obligations, and contract and procurement presentations. And each one of these presentations can be found on the district's transparency website. Texas Smart Schools, this is formerly known as the FAST Report, and this program was started in the state comptroller's office, and it highlights success in two dimensions, both academic performance and cost-effective finances. Conroe ISD is one of two districts out of over 1,000 in the state that have received 5 stars, which is the highest rating for 10 consecutive years. Our ERG ranking, ERG stands for Education Resource Group, and they perform an analysis of just the 200 largest districts. And their ranking is also done on academic and financial performance. And Conroe ISD is ranked second, just behind HEB. So now moving into the budget, we'll start with taking a look at the major components that drive the budget, and they begin with our 2020-2021 budget objectives. And they are to meet the needs for the 2020-2021 school year. This year we're opening Stockton Junior High School. We're moving into 12th grade at Grand Oaks High School. We're anticipating 1,500 new students this year. And we've identified personnel allocation adjustments at our elementary and intermediate schools. The board has already approved our cost of living increases for all employees. And we also need to provide funding to meet the requirements of House Bill 3. And that includes full-day pre-K for the full school year, our reading academies, and then programs such as dyslexia, CCMR, and special ed, just to name a few. And then we also have to provide funding for the costs related to COVID-19. And they include support for the transition of virtual learning, and supplies and equipment for maintaining a safe environment for all students and staff. Our general fund balance. This chart represents the fund balance of the general fund over the past 12 years. We ended 2019 with a fund balance of right at $140 million. This past year, we transferred a total of $32 million from our general fund into the capital maintenance fund. $12 million of that was to provide funding for technology in support of the 2019 bond referendum, and then the other $20 million was transferred to establish the capital maintenance fund. So we're in good shape with our fund balance. Our fund balance analysis, our objective is to maintain an unassigned fund balance of 20 to 25% of the annual budget, which gives us just about 3 months' worth of expenses. Our estimated unassigned fund balance at 8/31/20 is $140.1 million, which is 24% of the budget and $24.7 million over our low-end target. So taking into account the position of our fund balance, our school district is in great shape to handle the challenges of the COVID-19, of starting the new school year, and then the upcoming legislative session. Each year, we always like to compare ourselves with the greater Houston area and our tax rate. If you can see the district there on the right in red, that is Conroe ISD. We have currently the second lowest tax rate in the greater Houston area. The districts in the dark blue, that is our Montgomery County districts. And the districts in the light green, those are our peer districts. And those are districts that we not only compare to financially, but we also compare to academically. Taking into account just our peer districts, our tax rate is 15 cents below our peer average tax rate, and we're also 4 cents below the closest district to us in tax rate, which is Fort Bend. Our attendance data. Our state revenue estimates and the campus expenditure budget allocations rely on our enrollment data. This is probably the most important slide we'll look at this evening, since this is where we basically generate all of our revenue for the year. For the upcoming 2020-2021 budget, we're using an enrollment increase of 1,500 students for a total enrollment of 66,298 students, and we're using 94.2% for our average daily attendance. And each time I give this presentation, I have to stress that our expenditure budget is based on enrollment. However, state funding is provided based on our average daily attendance. This chart here just shows the linear progression of our enrollment. It's 1,500 students a year every year. Our certified property values grew by 5.71%. And this growth will add about $2.2 billion to our property values, bringing our total to roughly $40.3 billion. The impact on funding for the general fund is minimal due to House Bill 3 and also Robin Hood, but this is the primary source of revenue for the debt service fund. So how does House Bill 3 affect our tax rate? Per House Bill 3, districts will have their tax rates compressed so that the district's local tax collection only increased by 2.5% year over year. So let's look at our proposed tax rate for 2020-2021. Our current M&O tax rate is 97 cents. We're proposing a tax rate that includes assessing an additional 1 golden penny from the state, and we're proposing 95.25 cents, and that is a tax rate decrease of 1.75 cents. On the debt service side, we're recommending a debt service tax rate remaining the same at 26 cents for a total voter-approved tax rate of $1.2125. Once again, a tax rate decrease of 1.75 cents. So now that we've discussed the major components that drive the budget, we will now look at the effect that they have on the budget itself, starting with our 2020-2021 funding estimate. Our tax revenue increase, based off of 5.71% AV growth, actually compressed down to 2.5% with a tax rate reduction, is $14.18 million. State revenue, based off of 1,500 student growth, $10.88 million. Investment income, due to the downturn in the economy, we have to reduce that by $1.73 million. TRS in-kind funds, this is an accounting entry. You'll see an offset to this on the expenditure side, $3.5 million, for total estimated available funding of $26.83 million. Now we'll take a look at the expenditure side of the budget. This is our approved 2020-2021 pay plan. It includes a 3% raise for our teachers, librarians, nurses, and counselors. For our professional staff, it includes a 2.5% raise both in administrative education, and administrative business. Our paraprofessionals will receive a 3.5% raise for administrative support and instructional support. Auxiliary will receive a 3.5% raise. Bus drivers will get a flat $1, which is equivalent to a 5% on the midpoint. Our police officers will also receive a 5% raise, and they will also have the ability to earn additional certification pay. That total cost of living increase is $12.5 million. What you're looking at here is our approved teacher hiring schedule. Once again, it includes a 3% general pay increase, which is $1,800, and a starting teacher salary of $57,000. Our personnel additions at the campus to support the 1,500 anticipated new students, the opening of 12th grade at Grand Oaks High School, full-day pre-K, opening of Stockton Junior High. It includes 212 new positions that are made up of 128 teachers, 6 administrators, 8 professionals, and 69.5 paraprofessionals. And then to support those campuses, we have 88 new positions, and they're mainly for our transportation, police, maintenance, and custodial departments. Total personnel additions of $14.9 million. So here you're looking at a summary of our proposed expenditure budget. Additional personnel for growth, we just discussed, $14.9 million. General pay increase, $12.5 million. We are increasing our substitute pay by $5 per day. That's $300,000. We're moving the employee retention stipend out of the budget, $9.42 million. The offset to the TRS in-kind fund to $3.5 million. And then other expenses in the budget like fuel, utilities, insurance, and COVID expenditures, $2.85 million, for total expenditures of $24.66 million. So we're looking at our total proposed budget. On the revenue side, we had beginning revenues of $555.62 million. We had total revenue increases of $26.83 million for an estimated total revenue of $582.45 million. On the expenditure side, we had beginning expenditures of $552.33 million. We have total estimated expenditure increase of $24.66 million, giving us an estimated total expenditure of $576.99 million. That's leaving us with a potential surplus of $5.46 million. So proposal for the budget surplus. We need to save the surplus in the general fund balance to support the 2021-2022 budget, anticipating a state budget shortfall. And also, this surplus will help us, just in case with ADA, make sure that if those students don't show up that we're anticipating, we'll have the ability in our budget to absorb some of that. And then if any funds are left, we can utilize that to support our capital maintenance fund, reduce any bond debt requirements, and then cover any unforeseen expenditures that we may have. So this pie chart just shows the budget by major object. We're very payroll intensive. Payroll makes up 88% of our budget. Contracted services make up 4.8% of our budget. The largest item in there is our utility bill. Supplies and materials make up 4.3% of our budget. The largest item in there is fuel for our buses. Equipment and other make up 1.5% of our budget. The largest single item in there is property insurance. And then other operating transfers, the $10 million that we budget to transfer to the capital maintenance fund, and that's 1.7% of our budget, for a 2020-2021 proposed budget of $576,990,471. And this is just the format that we will ask the board to adopt the budget in at next month's board meeting. So what's next? On August 18th, at the board meeting, we'll have a public hearing. Then at that board meeting, we'll ask the board to adopt the budget. And then after adoption of the budget, we will ask the board to adopt the tax rate. And that is all I have, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. Appreciate your presentation. At this time, we will open it up for public comment. If anyone has a comment they would like to make regarding the budget presentation this evening, if you would please make your way to the podium, state your name, and you keep your comments to 3 minutes, we would be appreciative. All right, seeing no takers, that will conclude our budget hearing this evening. Thank you all for your attendance very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Great job, Mr. Rice and team.